Chapter 744, Sale. I'm no stranger to Mr. Door. Apart from Mr. Fool, the only one I'm no stranger to will be the seven deities. Furthermore, I've only been to the cathedral of the god of steam and machinery. As Fours was feeling puzzled, she quickly recalled which high-level existence she could have made contact with. Since there weren't many, she quickly eliminated all the other possibilities. Her eyes lit up as she made the connection with the contents of what Mr. Fool had originally said to her. She looked at the end of the bronze table that was enveloped in gray fog. Her voice trembled as she asked, "Is he the one who created those ravings during the full moon?" Klein chuckled with a nod. "That's right. Ravings during the full moon, what's that?" Audrey and company exchanged looks as though they were ordinary people who had just entered the mysterious world. They had never heard of any so-called full moon ravings. As expected, Miss Magician isn't simple. She actually knows about Mr. Door, and she's aware of the corresponding matters. My initial judgment wasn't wrong. Although the beyonder ingredients she needs are relatively low, there are too many possibilities. Katlia nodded her head indiscernibly, planning to ask more about Mr. Door during the free exchange. She was also willing to pay a certain price for it. An existence who could be seriously mentioned by Emperor Roselle and addressed by Mr. Fool in a rather formal manner had to have many secrets involved. It was definitely nothing simple. At that moment, Fours silently exhaled. She felt that she was one step closer to removing her curse. At the very least, I now know who's producing the full moon ravings. She lowered her gaze and sincerely said to Mr. Fool, "Thank you for your reminder." Klein didn't speak further, nor did he point out that Mr. Door was suspected to be the ancestor of the Abraham family, Bethel. After surveying around the table, he said with a casual tone, "You may begin." With that said, he immediately controlled the world to say with a hoarse voice, "I have 2 mystical items for sale." 2 mystical items? Mr. World has recently been able to produce something of great value at every gathering. He lives up to being Mr. Fool's blessed. Audrey poignantly sighed in amazement as she cast her eyes towards the other end of the long bronze table. Clearly, she was looking forward to the world's explanation of the powers of the item. Alger was tempted, as he knew that the mystical items the world sold were definitely up to mark. However, thinking back to his lack of savings, with the secret to the primitive island already given to him, all he could do was silently sigh, feeling depressed. He still had 5 hours before arriving at Pasu Island, and he was yearning to immediately fly over and complete his report. Then, he could leave the area, find an Obninsk to advance to Ocean Songster. Once he did that, he could explore that primitive island with the world, obtaining the relevant rewards so as to ease his financial situation. As for Derek, Emlyn, and Fours, although they were somewhat curious about the mystical item, they lacked the desire to actually purchase it. One of them could submit an application to the 6-member council to select one mystical item which the City of Silver had for becoming a Sequence 6. The other wished to receive the rewards from the hunting competition, and he wasn't certain what the rewards would be. Therefore, blindly purchasing items made it easy for redundancy and wastage to happen. Furthermore, he only had the 2,000 to 3,000 pounds needed for the reward for clues. As for the last one, she didn't even have the money to purchase it. Katlia looked at Jam and Sparrow with piqued interest as she considered the possible origins of the mystical item. If it was suitable, without clashing with the 2 mystical items she had, she didn't mind buying it. Seeing how the 2 major clients appeared interested, the world gave a deep chortle. "One of them is Scales of Luck. It's what I named it." As he spoke, he requested Mr. Fool to conjure the silver necklace that had an ancient coin dangling from it. After introducing its mystical effects and negative effects, he glanced at Audrey and specially gave a warning. "I suggest that beyonders lacking in combat strength don't purchase it. Although it can allow one to avoid a fatal blow, the subsequent backlash is equally dangerous. One needs to have sufficient combat strength and sharp reactions to have a chance of surviving the backlash." Thinking back to how she took on more of a support role, one that leaned towards control and influence, as well as her lack of combat experience, Audrey nodded with slight disappointment. It was an indication that Mr. World was right. Mr. World is pretty nice to me and the Tarot Club members. He's willing to give such a warning. This would have prevented him from selling it. Audrey adjusted her understanding of the world. The hermit found the description extremely familiar. She had apparently heard of the effects of the scales of luck. Scenes quickly flashed through her mind before finally being fixed onto a few particular scenes. Catlia's eyes constricted as she blurted out in surprise, "Senner. It's likely Admiral of Blood Senner's necklace. It looks similar, and the effects are identical. Where did Jayaman Sparrow obtain it? What did he do this time? Did I miss some important news over the past few days while the future was out at sea?" Catlia instinctively suspected that the world had stirred up something massive again. Klein thought about it and controlled the world to laugh deeply. He's already dead. He wasn't against letting Miss Justice and company realize that Jayaman Sparrow was equivalent to the world. After all, there were already two people who knew, and he didn't plan on using this identity frequently in the future. A powerful member who often took action made the rest of the Tarot Club feel a greater sense of belonging. He's already dead. Jayaman Sparrow killed Senner. In the previous battle, I only held a slight advantage over him. Catlia discovered that she was increasingly unsure of the world's strength. Although Admiral of Blood's bounty was higher than hers, it was mainly because he did more evil deeds. In terms of strength and mystical items, Catlia was slightly stronger. It wasn't as if she had never had any conflict with Senner. She had held the advantage several times, but she had failed to mortally wound him. As for Jayaman Sparrow, she believed that he was inferior to her when they met on the future. He was even unlikely to defeat Vice Admiral Ailment Tracy in her optimum state. Only when this crazy adventurer completed his advancement and hunted Slaughterer Kerches did she determine that he truly had the strength of a pirate admiral and was someone at her level. However, a week had just passed, and Jayaman Sparrow had completed another hunt. He had finished off Admiral of Blood Senner, who was one of the top 3 pirate admirals. Catlia knew that she herself was incapable of doing so. He's dead, Admiral of Blood Senner is dead, Jayaman Sparrow did it, he's killing one sequence 5 a week. Furthermore, each one of them is stronger than the last. Even if he's Mr. Fool's blessed, isn't such strength too ridiculous? Especially when he hasn't become a demigod. Was it done with the help of the other blessed? The church should have the relevant records, but at my present position, I won't be able to read them. Alger was secretly alarmed, as he automatically began to consider a reasonable explanation. Audrey was still in her family castle in Eastchester County. All she read was a few newspapers and magazines that involved the entire nation, so she wasn't aware of what happened at sea. However, from Ma'am Hermit's tone and words, she could tell that Mr. World had done something incredible again. Senner, Mr. Hanged Man had apparently mentioned it before. It's Admiral of Blood's name. Mr. World finished off this pirate admiral and obtained his mystical item? How amazing. That's practically what I dreamt of. Back when I had heard of the 7 pirate admirals, I had imagined myself becoming a powerful beyonder to adventure out into the sea to capture all of them and hand them over to the kingdom. So our Tarot Club is already this powerful. I have to investigate who killed Admiral of Blood. That way, I'll be able to figure out Mr. World's real identity. But would he be unhappy about that? No, he mentioned it himself, so he's likely willing to let himself be known. Audrey thought in glee. Fours, who needed to read various newspapers to obtain material, instantly recalled a piece of news that she had recently read. Admiral of Blood Senner was suspected to have been killed by the crazy adventurer, Jayaman Sparrow. See, could it be that Mr. World is the crazy adventurer worth? No, is the crazy adventurer with a bounty of £50,000. Fours felt respect. She began to believe that he had the ability to help her finish off the Aurora Order Oracle, the suspected traveler, Lewis Ween. Emlyn shared similar feelings as Audrey. This was because he seldom read minor newspapers. His area of activity didn't include any information gathering grounds. As for Derek, he wasn't one bit surprised. He had long confirmed that Mr. World was extremely powerful. Even though Mr. Hanged Man had once mentioned that Admiral of Blood Senner was very powerful, he believed that Senner was inferior to Mr. World due to a lack of any direct impression of him. Catlia said after a few seconds of silence, How much do you plan on selling it for, or what item would you like to trade it with? If the price is suitable, I can consider it. Great, there's finally someone who's interested. Klein, who was burdened with immense financial pressure, controlled the world to say, 12,000 gold pounds. He was afraid Katlia would be frightened away by such a price, so he quickly added, you can choose to pay a portion with gold coins. That way, all you will need is 11,000 pounds. Klein believed that Admiral of Stars, who had plundered gold-carrying ships from various nations, definitely had some gold reserves. Even if she didn't have much, she could exchange for them from other pirates. This would allow him to make his first payment to Miss Messenger. As for fishing up sunken ships, due to the existence of the Church of Storms, Klein believed that any easily discoverable ships would have long been found by the irascible Storm Bros. Sea King isn't weaker than Sea God, and there had to be a handful of people at the level of Sea King inside the Church of Storms. Katlia did a silent calculation and said, 4,000 pounds worth of gold coins and 6,500 pounds in cash. We can close the deal if you are agreeable. The money wasn't easy to raise, even for her, but she had the Moses Ascetic Order backing her. Spending about 10,000 pounds to obtain the Scales of Luck was something that no secret organization would object to. As expected of a pirate admiral, unfortunately, I have to avoid the Rose school of thought, and I can't clean out Admiral of Blood's ship. Klein made the world carefully consider it before saying, deal.